The law of action made me my first $1 million in business at the age of 24. And in this video, I'm gonna go over exactly how you can not only apply the law of action to get everything that you've wanted in your life, but how I applied it to my life to get me to the point where I am now in my young 20s. And how I view the law of action is broken down into two categories. First, you have to give yourself permission to have the best. And secondly, you just have to act. So to tackle the first, you have to give yourself permission to have the best. And what I mean by that is so many people in this world, they self-sabotage themselves. They don't give themselves permission to have the good things in life. If they're around wealth, they feel weird. If they walk into a luxurious store, they feel uncomfortable. And the first aspect of the law of action is actually giving yourself permission to truly have this best in the world, because you deserve it. I'm no different than you. If you're watching this, you can do anything you want in this life. And if you have that mindset, you now understand that you truly deserve the best in life. Because if you think that you deserve the best in life, your actions will then reflect that, and you will take very different actions thinking that you deserve things versus if you didn't deserve them. And then after we've established that, the main thing you have to understand is that all there is to it is just action. It's just action. And if you act every day in the right direction and you make the right moves on the board, action can solve everything in your life. And the most important thing to understand here is that without the proper business model or thing to put your action into, there's gonna be no way that you can then implement that in the correct direction. So for me, I implemented the law of action into three main categories: my health, my fitness, and business. And for me, the business that I started my senior year of college, when I was literally locked in my fraternity room, was an AI lead generation agency. And the law of action I then inputted is to go and put as much work in that company as I could. And what you have to understand in this world is you have entirely free will to do anything. You can go act in a manner where that would cause you to become a homeless crack addict. You can also act in a manner that can cause you to build $1 million business and make your first $1 million online in your early 20s. And what you then realize is that all that matters in life is truly just action. It's the only thing that matters in life once you've realized you have permission to have the best. And the best way I can actually go ahead and integrate the law of action for you guys is to obviously give you my story. So I started on this journey about 2.5 years ago, my senior year of college, in my fraternity house. And how I used the law of action was finding a business model that I could then put my action into. So for me personally, I started an AI lead generation agency where we partner with B2B companies to help them get more qualified leads. And I was able to take my action in that. And how I actually implemented the law of action was, instead of doing what everyone else was doing that time in college, going out drinking, going to fraternity parties, I literally worked all day. And that was the law of action for me. I gave myself permission to have the best. I knew that I wasn't built for a normal life, and I gave myself permission to have the best and actually being able to take the action. But why that first part of giving yourself permission to have the best is actually so important, because if you don't give yourself permission to have the best from the jump, you're never going to actually take the actions necessary because you just genuinely don't believe that you deserve it. So I started because I knew I deserved the best, and then I just took action from there. And my first month and my first week, I was able to sign my first client within 7 days. And from there, I was off to the races. And the law of action is a compounding effect, because the more that you take action in the right direction each and every day is the time that you can then continue to get ahead of everyone else. So when I signed my first client, I didn't get happy there. I continued with the law of action and continued to take the steps I knew I needed to each and every day. And at the end of this first month in my business model, I was able to sign my first 3 clients, and I was able to cash collect my first $5,000 the first month. And the genuinely only reason I was able to do that from a fraternity house is because I was just taking action every day. I was ruthless to the point where I did nothing else besides taking the action that I knew I needed to take. And the most wonderful thing that you have to believe is that action solves every problem in your life. If you just act, and you didn't even think about the correct decision, you will win in the end. Because at the end of the day, I made more mistakes than anyone when I first started this business model. And the genuine reason I continued to win was because I took every L as a lesson instead of a loss. And I turned those L's into wins. And I was able to do that by just ruthlessly taking action. So once I signed those first 3 to 4 clients, I knew it was game over. I knew that I was gonna get everything I wanted in this life because again, I truly thought that I deserved it. And from there, all that was needed to be done was taking more action. So every day in my fraternity house, instead of going out, I focused on getting those clients the best results that I possibly could. My first client ever, I helped them close an extra 204K in revenue within the first 10 weeks of working together. And that was only because of the actions I was taking. That was only because of the actions I was taking. If I had taken the wrong actions or fucked off and done some actions that weren't leading me in the right direction, I would have never got that case study and I would have changed my life. And the thing that you have to understand is that one good set of actions can truly change your life. I'll repeat that again. One good set of actions can truly change your life. And how I mean that to be is, like said with my first client, we helped them close an extra 204K within 10 weeks. And if I didn't take the set of actions that allow me to do that, that case study would have never then changed my life. And like I said, if you fulfill for one client, you can then use that ability to go sign multitudes of clients after that. At this point in my A&T 2 years later, we work with over 70 clients. And the amount of clients I've referred using that case study has been incredible. So one good set of actions is what you need to understand can truly change the entire trajectory of your life. And from there, after my senior year, I was able to make my first $100,000 in my senior year of college, truly just by taking the actions I knew I needed to every day and not getting discouraged again by when things get hard. Because what you'll understand is that this life isn't easy. This life will kick you in the teeth. This life will kick you down. And the reality is, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and taking ruthless action every day, there is 0% chance that you lose. And my whole saying in my head at this time was you just have to give yourself permission to have the best and act. Have and act. Give yourself permission to have the best, have, and all there is to do is just action after that. And I guarantee you, if you just take action every day and put one foot in front of the other, you realize that there is no place in this world you can't go. And the most beautiful part about action is that action illuminates the path that you're gonna win. Because if you try to think about the path that you're gonna take, or you try to figure out every niche detail of the path before you start walking it, I guarantee you that there's no place you're gonna be able to walk by preemptively deciding the path that you wanna take. Because down your road of action, there's gonna be so many turns in which you course correct. You're gonna think things are gonna go one way and you're gonna go the complete other way. The most beautiful thing about action is the path illuminates as you walk it. But if you never take the action in the first place, then the path will never illuminate. And that's dangerous because so many people try to have the path figured out before they take the first step. When in reality, the most important thing to understand about the path is that the path will never illuminate unless you take the first step. So instead of trying to have the path figured out beforehand, all I focused on was just putting one foot in front of the other every day. For me personally, a saying I had in my mind the whole time was just like I'm walking to the newspaper. Just like I'm walking to the newspaper every day. Not putting importance on the end result, not putting importance on the money, just like I'm taking the path every day. And that's what I focused on. And like I said, in that first year of running the business model, I was able to make my first $100,000, and that set me up as a 21, 22-year-old kid with an unbelievable amount of freedom. I was then able to take that freedom and go do amazing things after that senior year of college. I lived in Bali for 2 months. I lived in Bangkok for a month. And these are all down to the fact of the law of action. And what I'm trying to get across to you guys is nothing in your life will change unless if you change. And all that you can change in your life is the actions that you take on a daily basis. If you're eating the wrong foods, you're not gonna feel good. If you're not putting the work into your work, you're not gonna make the money you wanna make. If you're not putting the work into the relationships you want, you're not gonna have the relationships that you want. And all you have to understand is that action, true action, can solve anything in your life. Over an extended period of time, if all you do is act, there's nothing that you can't do in this world. And that's what I want you to realize here, is that action is the thing that solves all. And the biggest thing that you have to realize about the law of action is that messy action will always win. The biggest thing that keeps people from taking action is overthinking, because they try to think out every step of the process before they've even taken the first step. And I guarantee you, as we come back to that point, that the path will never truly illuminate unless if you start walking it. And the only way that you can start walking it is by taking messy action. And that's all I did my whole road to getting to where I've got over the last 2 years. I just took messy action every single day. And I never put importance on the action. I didn't even know if the action I was taking was right half the time. I would literally listen to my gut, 30 seconds, and just act, And literally the means of acting was able to put my first million in my business at the age of 24. And it just came down to simply putting one foot in front of the other. And so many people misunderstand that action is truly the only thing that changes your life. So what I want to really get through your skull here is that messy action will always beat perfect action every time. And instead of waiting for the right scenario, or instead of waiting for the right circumstances, that action and messy action in the wrong circumstances will always win. And you will always prevail if you just focus on taking those action steps each and every day. And that's exactly what I've done to scale my client base to now 70 clients, is all I focused on was two things: getting clients from my agency and using the resources and actions I have taken to get client results for the clients we signed. And that in and of itself is the only thing I focused on in the last 2.5 years, and why I've been able to scale it to how I've done it. And the thing that I implore you into this video is just to simply take action, whether it's investing in yourself for the first time or investing in your business. I guarantee you that if you don't change, nothing will change. And the number one thing that you can actually have control of each and every day is the actions that you take. And so many people get the mindset stuff or the law of attraction and the law of manifestation. But what you have to understand about everything is they're not talking about action in those topics. And the only thing that separates people from get everything that they want in life versus those who have anything that they don't want in life is simply just the actions they take. Because as said earlier on, you can have various different lifelines in this life. There can be a version of reality for you where you're a homeless crack addict. And there can also be a version of you that's a multimillionaire, in amazing shape, and has an amazing life that you've always wanted. And the only difference between these two versions of yourself is quite literally just the actions that you take on a daily basis. So I implore anyone watching this video is to watch the actions that you are taking on a daily basis and then really question yourself, do those actions that you're taking on a daily basis actually line up with the person that you want to become? Ask yourself that. Do the actions that you're taking on a daily basis each and every day align with the highest version of yourself that you want to become? Because if those actions don't align with the highest version of yourself, are you eating the right foods that that millionaire version of yourself would eat? Are you making decisions like that millionaire versions of yourself would? Are you taking risks in your life like the millionaire version of that self would? Are you having the work ethic that that millionaire version of yourself would? Because I can guarantee you, if you've answered no to any of those questions and you're not acting like the millionaire version of yourself on a daily fucking basis, there's zero fucking chance that you're ever gonna become that version of yourself. And that's just a cold, hard reality, is that action shapes your entire reality. Mindset is great, beliefs are great, but your actions shape your entire reality. And if your actions aren't pointing you in the direction that you wanna go, you're clearly taking the wrong actions. And as someone who's built a dream life that they've wanted, living in my dream city, having time, location, freedom to go wherever I want in this world and travel, income freedom, the only thing that's allowed me to have those things is simply just the actions I've taken on a daily basis. And if I didn't take the correct actions on a daily basis, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I implore you to look at your actions, and if those aren't aligning with the highest version of yourself, then you need to really, really dissect what those actions are going to be. So for you to apply the law of action to your own life, you need to start taking ruthless actions in the correct direction and really dissect to yourself if the actions that you're taking now are aligning with the highest version of yourself. So an action plan that you can easily take, for example, let's say you want to make money. You want to get rich. That's a desire you have. God placed that desire in your head for a reason. It's because you know you can get it. Now the only thing that's left for you to go do is just act. It's just to act. That idea in your head is there for a reason. So picking one business model is the first thing that you need to do. I picked AI lead generation agency. I have videos explaining how to do it. I also teach people how to do this one-on-one where we license my whole model to you that makes me a lot of money every month and giving it to you guys. Even if it's not AI lead generation, I implore you, you need to start taking action in one direction on one business model. And then what you have to realize along the way is that once you start taking action, you're inevitably going to start taking L's. But what we need to start viewing L's as are not losses. We need to start viewing them as lessons, because your actions are inevitably going to lead to some losses. They're inevitably going to lead to losses. But I guarantee you, if you take that loss and turn it into a lesson, you can then revamp the actions that you took in the first place to then take the correct actions after that. And if you take the correct actions, your actions are then going to lead to a win. And if you quit and you never give up and you put one foot in front of the other each and every time, no matter how many times you take an L, if you learn the lesson every time you take those, you can then turn that L into a win. And the thing you have to realize is your life is where it's at simply down to the actions that you've taken up to this point. If you're out of shape, it's because of the actions you took. If you don't have the money you want, it's because of the actions you took. And what you need to take is full responsibility. But the beautiful part is once you take full responsibility of that, you then have the freedom to change your actions. And if you change your actions, you can change your life. And if you change your life, it'll simply be down to the actions that you took to get there. And like I've said, the law of action absolutely changed my life. It's a thing that I believe in most. You can have all the mindset, you can have the perfect business model, you can have the perfect program, but if you never take action, nothing in your life will ever fucking change. And that's the hard truth, is action solves all. Nothing in your life changes without actions. So if you have any questions on the law of action, what actions to take, please, I implore you to message me on Instagram. This is something I'm absolutely passionate about, is imploring people to take the right actions in their life. Because I've seen the actions that have changed the trajectory of my life, and I know no matter where you are right now, no matter how down bad you may be, no matter how broke, no matter how out of shape, no matter the situation you are in life, I truly believe if you take the actions you know you need to take, you can change your life and the trajectory of your whole life in 6 months. So with that being said, as we ended this video off, I hope you got value from this. Now that you know, the only thing you have to do is give yourself permission to have the best, and then just act from there, my friend. So with that being said, the law of action can change your life. It certainly changed mine, and I hope it will change yours.